Hey guys, let's check out another theme. Today's theme is going to be parade photography. Let's check it out.
Click, 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 click and a picket. Click, 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 click and a picket. Click, 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 click and a picket. Click, click, click.
You know, I think it's really invaluable when I can go over some photos with you because there's things that come up that I think about that I can share with you, some tips, some thoughts and ideas. And it's like instead of people asking me questions and waiting for these questions to come up, these thoughts come to my mind and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to tell them about this and this and this. And I can give you so many different ideas and thoughts just looking at these photos that you don't even have to ask me the questions. I'm kind of asking myself the questions. What can I get out of this photo to give back to you? And hopefully these are a real benefit to you. Maybe you like this sort of thing, maybe you don't, but you can at least get some tips and thoughts and ideas out of this. Either way. All right, so let's check it out. So if you're like me, when it comes time to shooting a parade, you might think, oh, this is going to be easy to shoot. There's all sorts of colorful things. There's all sorts of people going by. And there are some very interesting things to shoot. But there are a lot of challenges to shooting a parade. For me, it's probably one of the hardest things I've ever had to shoot. Things often are moving that you have no control over. Things are hard to isolate. And you usually find that you get a good shot of either people close up or people very far if you can isolate the subject material. So let's go over the first photo. So the first photo here, I really like this shot. This turned out well. And this is one of only a handful that I get that are good full wide shots. Most of the full wide shots don't work out well because there's too many distracting elements in the photo. And this worked out very well. There's a balance of people all the way up and down the aisles on the street sidewalks. And the people that are marching fill everything up, and it's just the right balance. This shot worked out really well, and everything seems in focus, so I'm real happy with this. All right, so let's go to the next shot. So there again, try to get some wide shots. They're really hard to get and have them look nice. I get maybe 5% of the wide shots that I take that I'm even happy with. 5%. And out of this parade, I think I'd taken almost 800 shots. So if that gives you an idea. You don't have control over what's happening. It's all dynamic and you need to try to capture it as it's going. So it's a real challenge. Now this is another shot. These people marching down the street. And what I like about this shot is it shows the whole length in the scene of very close and very far. And everything just fills the frame very well. And the good thing is this was the beginning of the parade and these people are isolated. There's not a lot of distractions in this picture, and so it worked out really well. All right, so let's go to the next one. So the next one, this is one of my favorite shots. And I turned this shot into a black and white shot because of the period costumes that they're wearing. It looks like it could be something out of the 1950s, the 1960s. It just worked out well, and it was raining this day, and so it really gave for a different feel. The parade had started about 3 blocks back, and it started raining the whole time, and so they hadn't been fully soaked, so they still looked pretty good, but you could tell that nobody's really excited to be out in the rain. They don't like to be in the rain here in the Philippines. And this shot really worked out well. I love this shot. So try to find shots that you can take in the rain. It'll give it a lot more drama. Don't shy away from going to events or parades because it's raining. Go out there. You're going to get better shots oftentimes because it is raining. All right, so let's do the next one. Now the next one is of a marching band shot. Now, here again, if you focus into a group of people, you're not going to get very many good shots. Every once in a while, you'll be able to isolate a few people and you'll get a few good shots, but not that often. Usually you'll focus on one person and the rest will be blurred out, and that's probably the best way to get a shot within the group. Now what I really love about this shot is if you look at this guy on the right hand side, this drummer. Now, one thing I noticed looking at old art pictures and old photographs of paintings from the early years, like 1300s, 1500s, 1600s, you'll see this same exact stoic look on this drummer's face that you'll see on the drummers' faces in the old paintings. It's just amazing. It's stuck out, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's that same face. And so that's why I love this, because it just reminds me of that same expression that the drummers have. They're all serious, like they're going to battle. All right, so let's do another shot. Okay, so this shot isn't a fantastic shot, but I wanted to show it to you because it'll help you with your thinking and your editing. Now, I shot this with a 50 millimeter at night. It was a nighttime parade, and what I loved is that this sign lit up really nice. But what I didn't like was there's so much background lighting in the back that my camera kept defaulting to overexposing to the lights or underexposing, and so these people were really dark in the shadows. Now, by the time I brought everything up to where it looked viewable, the night sky looked too bright. It was too blown out, because this is a full night sky and it looks like it's kind of dusk. And so to bring everything up, it changed the sky, and I didn't like that about that. But I wanted to show this photo so you could think about that. When you're shooting, be very careful of shooting with a lot of ambient lights. Either have lights on both sides affecting everything evenly, or be outside of the lights. Be away from the lights. Otherwise, it will affect your editing and your shot overall. All right, so let's go to another one. And then when you're in the parade, you're going to see different themes, whether it's going to be marching girls marching. And here again, this looks good because I was able to isolate the girl from the front of the group, okay? And so we're able to see her, and everything's balanced out really well. She's in focus and the rest is kind of blurred out, but you know that the rest of the marching band is behind her. Okay, so we've got that one. And then this is another shot that I liked. Now, I did this shot on that rainy day parade, but I had a zoom lens with me. I had an 18 to 135. And so if I were to focus back on this shot, it would have brought all these cars into focus, and it wouldn't have been a very pretty shot. So I think your zoom is your greatest tool at a parade. If you can focus on the individual people and use the lens for the wide shots, if you can get far enough back to get a scene that's not in too cluttered of an area. All right, so this girl looks beautiful, and I isolated her in that shot, so it worked out really well. And the same with this one. If they say fill the frame, this is a fill the frame shot. And so this hat was just really unique, and everything just worked out well at the angles. But then again, I was lucky to be where I was at. I was at the beginning of the parade, and after an hour of this parade, she would have been completely soaked, and she wouldn't have looked even half this good. You can see a little drip running down her face. She is getting wet. It was drizzling that day. And this was in Dumaguete. Alright, so let's do another one. This is a local Boy Scouts chapter. Now, I'm going to give you my 2 cents on this, because this kind of drives me crazy. I grew up when the Boy Scouts was all boys, right? And they've got a girl in here, you know? And it's not that I'm against girls wanting to march with the boys, but have a co-ed group called the Boys and Girl Scouts. But have a Boy Scouts for the boys and a Girl Scouts for the girls. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing. Now, I looked at the Girl Scouts marching in this parade, and there were no boys in there. So why can't we have a mixed group for the people that want a mixed group, and a separate group for the people that want a separate group? I think boys need to be able to be boys, and girls need to be able to be girls together in different situations. These boys are going to behave differently around this girl than they would around themselves, and I think they need a place to be themselves. I think that's only fair. So there's my 2 cents on that. But what I love about this shot is that it's at night, and as an isolated group, it looks good. And that doesn't happen very well on these shots. And you can see the different expressions and all the different people and how their green hand-lit lights light up the street. It really gives it kind of a neat feel. And it looks like they're waiting for marching orders to move forward. All right. So there's one more shot with these guys that I really like, the Boy Scouts. Now, this shot I really like because this young man here, the one in focus, he looks like he has taken this duty of being a Boy Scout very seriously. Everything, his uniform looks perfect, his belt is right in line, he's standing straight up tall, and all the other boys are just, they're just kind of hanging out. You know, they're focused on different things, but this guy is with it. He's got it going on. I would really see him as a good role model for these other kids. All right, so let's go to another shot. Okay, so in the Philippines, there are very few floats. Floats are expensive, and only usually the very big parades have very many of them. Now, this is a lovely lady in Dumaguete on the rainy day, and luckily she had an umbrella, and it worked out. She kind of looks like somebody from a fantasy fairyland. All right, and so that worked out well. Now, the beauty of the float is you're able to isolate a shot. She has things around her that you can incorporate into the shot that aren't going to really distract. They're going to add to it. That's why shooting a float is really easy to do, and it makes for a really good shot. And the other thing, when you're taking these shots, try to find people in costume. And they're moving, so it's hard to find a close-up shot right in front of you that's moving where it doesn't look weird. It's balanced, and this shot turned out really well. He's in focus, everybody else is kind of blown out, and it balances out. It looks really good. It shows the traditional costume. He's in frame really well, and so that was a good shot. That was on the Cebu Sinew Log, probably 3 years ago. All right, and so this is another lady that she's got a beautiful costume on. And just fill the frame. If there's too many distractions, fill the frame with the characters, with the people that you've got. All right? And this one, I really like this shot just because it's different. It's unique, and the background is so melted away. It's just, I love this shot. And the colors with this headdress balance off the colors that are blown out on the bokeh in the back. This is kind of a neat shot. I like this. So this is the Sinew Log 2018, I think. All right. And then we have this shot. This is one the guys will like. All right, so these girls were on top of a pickup truck, and they were kind of in a police type DEA parade. So they had some pretty girls on the back, and I've got them coming from the front and going from the back. So here's a shot that kind of illustrates the cluster of people that I'm trying to talk about. When you're trying to shoot people in a group, it's hard to have defined sides. It's hard to have people framed perfectly on both sides of the shot. And originally, I was looking at this trumpet guy. I was trying to put him in focus. But for some reason, my camera focused on everything but him. But what I like about this shot is if you look at the guy off to the right, he has a drum, and his drum is lit up. And the light from the drum is lighting up his face, and it really gives it kind of a neat shot. So you can get some good shots not even trying, just kind of goofing up. And it's interesting enough that I like this shot. Okay, so let's go to another one. It's really hard to get good parade shots. That's kind of why I'm going through this. So this is another one. I love the shot. I wish it was more in focus. It was a soft focus. It was really low light, and it was hard to lock in. But it at least shows the mood of the night. All the different lights that are on the instruments, that are on the band musicians. And it's a good framed shot. Just at night, there's many challenges in trying to lock focus, trying to get things that are sharp is really, really difficult. Okay? Alright, so let's go to the next one. And this last one, this is a perfect example. The shot kind of works. It was kind of like, oops. I'm using a 50 millimeter on this night scene, a 1.8. And there's no place you can really go when there's crowds on both sides of you, behind you. You're just fixed on shooting what's straight in front of you. And I probably was trying to focus on something else, and with the delay of the nighttime shot, I ended up getting this shot with the guy in front of me. I think I got one in front and one behind. And so it's kind of different. It's a fill the framer, and it kind of works, but it was a lucky shot. I couldn't have got that if I tried to get it, if I was doing it, especially with a fixed lens. All right. And so the other thing is, parades are about family. So always try to show the family element. And I love this photo here because it shows a young man and his dad. And he's carrying him through the parade. And one is looking one way and one is looking the other way. And they both have baseball caps. So I thought that was really cute. And the bokeh looks really good. So the best tip that I can give you is bring a zoom lens that goes very wide, 18 to 35, and then that goes fairly long, 135 to 200. And that will give you the best range of shots for shooting parades. Okay, so we're on the family unit. Now, this was kind of an interesting shot. I shot this in the Dumaguete parade during the day, and the army soldiers were marching through, and they gave this young man an M16 to hold, and it just looks kind of surreal seeing this young man holding this serious weapon. All right, so we got that, and then this other shot that I really like. Now, this is shooting into a crowd. Now, it looked good because the people were balanced on both sides of the frame. And the cool element to this shot is it was raining, and it was raining quite a bit, and the parade had started, and they were about 2 or 3 blocks into the parade. And this young man just kind of looked up and just kind of started dancing, looking at the sky, just like, yeah, let it rain. And I thought that was really cool. Everybody else wants to stay dry, and he doesn't care. And I thought that was pretty carefree. Now, when you're shooting a lot of the parade people that are in the event, you'll come across people that are really friendly that make your day and your experience kind of enjoyable. And these people were pretty cool. They were shooting, he's got a really nice Nikon camera, and they were shooting the parade also. And they were kind of flattered that I would take their shot. So it was kind of neat. I talked to them for a little bit, so I got that shot. So that kind of made it for a nice experience. And then in the most recent parade at night, this police officer gave me a thumbs up. And when people are that friendly and nice, you feel connected to it. You feel a part of something. And I think being a foreigner in Asia, they're probably happy that I'm filming this. They're enjoying that I'm taking notice, and they take a little bit more pride, I think, in their events when other people are there. So it's kind of a nice learning sharing. Okay, now here's one of the rainy scenes where I was able to take a shot of this man and his horse and carriage. And if you look at this shot, it just has so much more dynamic strength being in the rain. You think about the shot more, you look at the shot more, you linger, it just gives it that much energy. So if you ever get a chance to shoot in the rain at a parade, do it. I ran with my umbrella over my head and my camera in my other hand, and I just kind of went for it. You could do a tripod too, which would probably be easier, but you're going to be fixed on having a certain set of shots if you're focused at one spot on a tripod. But yeah, do as many rain shots as you can. I think it's really unique. Not many people do that, and it will make your work stand out. All right, and then just the last 2 shots. When you're on a street, I had a zoom lens on this. When you're on a street, and I could back up to 18 millimeters, it's really, really, really hard to shoot a full float, get it into the frame, and have it look good. You're probably only going to get a partial part of the float. Now, if you see this cable right in front, that it's kind of unavoidable. You're going to get shots sometimes that have distractions that you're not able to take out, and you just have to live with it. I stepped out into the street for the first hour and I got a lot of good shots, but after a while they didn't want that, so I couldn't breach this cable line. I had to stay behind it. So whatever I got is what I got. So the best advice when you're shooting things that you can't really get far enough back to get a lot of good perspective is to try to shoot up close. And I'll show you a really up close perspective of a part of the float. All right, guys, I'm not able to take all of you to all these different shoots and to teach each one the things that I've learned. So by going through these photos, I can explore some of the things that I've had to deal with and try to share those things with you. It's taken me 5 or 6 parades to kind of come to a conclusion of what to do, what not to do, and it will probably take me several more parades before I can implement all those thoughts and actually follow through with them. So these tips, I hope they helped you, and I know I wish someone would take me under their wing and say, hey, come on, Vern, let's do this, let's shoot this. This is what I would do, this is what I wouldn't do, because it would help me climb a whole lot faster. All right, so if these things have helped you, send me a comment, let me know what your thoughts are, okay? And let's grow together, okay? So please subscribe if you haven't, and throw me a like. All right, thank you.
Click, 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 click and a picket. Click, 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 click and a picket. Click, 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 click and a picket. Click, click, click.